It was the small things that my mother appreciated. Lou, baby, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come under. Thank you. Come on. Come on, baby. Hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and comment respectfully. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below, down there in the description bar, or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me repeat. Your paid memberships mean so much to this channel. You know I have a job now, and child, I need to tell a story about how I keep getting in trouble at work. Oh my God, I can't be the same lady here on the YouTube that I am at my job, because people be getting mad at me. And then they be popping off on me. And then I gotta pop back, because I don't really have restraints. It's my first job I've had in like fucking years, so, But, guys, just remember, your paid memberships help out a lot over here with this YouTube channel. If you enjoy the book club, I know we're not getting the views like we used to, only certain kind of books get views, but I don't want to limit our channel to those just Motown and Michael Jackson. I don't want this book club to just be about that. I want it to be about a variety of things. Okay, so go on down there in the description bar, hit the Patreon link or the join button here on the YouTube. Now, let's continue talking about LeLee Lyons. Born May 14th, 1928, somewhere in Atlanta, Georgia. I say that because we have no record of my mom being born in a hospital, a home, or anything. Shit, I don't even think she had a real birth certificate. My mom was an original Georgia peach. My dad from Macon County, Georgia. So I guess it's safe to say that I'm part peach and part apple. I'm cool with that. Well, shit. I'm part DC honeybee and part Georgia peach myself. My mother would take someone in our home quick. If you said your mom was abusing you, your husband left you, and you were homeless, or maybe you were just too intoxicated to drive home, chances are you were going to spend the night at our house. Mom just had a heart for people. If she had you, she had you. She was the kind of person that could never say no. That trait ended up being a blessing and a curse. She'd often help people that eventually took advantage of her kindness. But Mommy would never change who she was for anybody. She was the type of person that would find good in the evilest person, which explains how she was able to tolerate my abusive father for so long. Everyone loved and respected her. I used to love to hear the kids acknowledge my mother. "Hey, Miss Margaret," she'd reply, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" She would always greet everyone with a smile, even if her front tooth came out the day and she didn't have time to glue it back in. At the moment, it didn't matter. I was in the 3rd grade when I first saw firsthand what domestic abuse looked like. After school one day, I ran up the steps like a flying saucer in space. And I don't know why. Most of the buildings in the Bronx didn't have any elevators, so we had to walk and run everywhere we went. When you have to use the bathroom, it's the worst thing ever. In my case, I had to run up 4 flights of stairs. I was young, on the track team, so that was lightweight to me. Just like a kid, I always looked forward to my mother's greetings when I came home from school. "Hey baby, how was your day?" As I walked towards where she was, I noticed she was facing the window and never looked at me. Not mommy at all. She'd always stick her head out and acknowledge her youngest child. I also noticed the sound of her voice was very different. Typically, my mother's voice was high when excited and clear when she spoke, unless perhaps that annoying tooth in the front of her mouth fell out, which it would do from time to time. Mommy would get some crazy glue and glue it back together. That's, baby, that's not healthy. You can't put glue in your mouth. Ain't that shit poison? She probably had a partial or a bridge or something. This time it sounded more like a slurring type of sound. Maybe like a person who just had a slight stroke. Whatever the case, it wasn't my mother's norm. As I went closer to her, it was apparent why my mother kept looking out the window. She was hiding her face, trying to conceal the beating my dad had just put on her a few hours earlier. I believe this was the first time I realized I was a cusser. As I tried to console my mom and ask her who did this to her, she wouldn't say anything but, "I'm okay, baby." In the meantime, I hear my father come out of my godmother's bedroom trying to sneak out the front door. He was trying to leave before I got home from school, but I caught his ass. I grabbed what looked like a vacuum cleaner and headed straight to the door. "You motherfucker, why you hit my mother?" My mother's lip was so big and her mouth was so swollen it looked like she had a nasty, bloody, allergic reaction. She was almost unrecognizable. The size of her lip affected her ability to speak clearly, which is what caused the slight slur in her words as she spoke to me. I was just a little girl who didn't give a damn about this being my father. This man was a monster to me. My mother was such a short woman, 5'1", to my dad, 6'2". Absolutely no threat to him at all, so I couldn't understand why he did this. That wouldn't be the last beating my mom took from my dad, and I'm sure it wasn't the first. What the hell was wrong with him? My sisters and I would begin to see patterns of this behavior, and just like a battered woman, my mother always protected him. After he left her stuck with all these damn bills she couldn't afford, it just got rough for all of us. There were times we would have to boil water on the stove to bathe because we couldn't afford to pay the water bill. We never complained. Having lights on in our house was a luxury for us. It seemed like we would get our lights cut off every time the bill was paid. Whenever my mom would pay the bill, which was never the whole bill, we would have just enough light for about a week, and then we were back to lighting candles. Mommy never complained about anything, even if it was terrible. I have to give it up to my older sister, Malaya, who sacrificed so much of her youth helping my mother out with bills. Only a teenager, my sister Malaya tried to help my mother out a lot financially, even putting her job on the line, but we just couldn't make it work. She dropped out of college, something she regrets today, to work full time to help mommy out with the bills. Employed as a bookkeeper at Food Emporium supermarket in Manhattan at just 17 years old, she had access to a lot of money. Thinking she could replace the money before the drawer was counted, my sister Malaya stole a few $100s out of the till to help mommy out with the bills. The sad part was they found out what she'd done. And the good part was she was such a good worker. They just made her pay the money back because she was honest about it. She ended up keeping her job. Jeanette and I really couldn't do much but get along with each other at this point. All of this, and we still didn't complain. This was our normal. Remember Jeanette, the sister who almost let her die out in them streets? Who, if it wasn't for that kind man round there too, I think it was Brooklyn, would have let her sister die out there in the mean streets of New York. Jeanette, I'm out in these streets. Could you help me? No, fuck you, bitch. I don't care what happened. Get home the best way you can and leave me and mommy alone. After several embarrassing evictions, the responsibility was just too much to bear. Bouncing from apartment to apartment and eventually being escorted out by the New York City marshals. I guess we were officially homeless. We put our belongings in storage, and after a few months, we'd get evicted out of there too. We lost a lot of items that held a lot of sentimental value, especially family photos when we were kids. We would then go to live with my godmother, Jet, on Anderson Avenue in the Bronx. Jet had a one-bedroom apartment in the building we used to live in. Her doors were always open, but with 3 other bodies, it was a full house. We ended up making it work, but it wasn't the most comfortable situation. We were just happy to have a place to stay. I always tell people, as sweet as my mother was, her quality of life should have been better than it was. Not awful in the sense that she was just never happy, because it was the small things that my mother appreciated. But the mother I knew was a dreamer. She wanted more for herself and her kids, but somehow couldn't find her way out of the rut. No matter what happened to us, Mommy went out of her way to make sure we didn't find out. But somehow we did. She did earn a nursing certificate throughout the years, but I have no idea why she didn't pursue it. I guess now it didn't matter anymore. On her dying bed, my mother told my father, "Lawrence, you will never meet another Margaret." Oh boy, was she right. After my mother's funeral, we found out that my mother and father were never married, only common law marriage, which was legal at that time. That wasn't good enough for me. My feelings towards my father started to change at that moment. But I will say this, my mother took her last breath, loving her some LeLee Lyons. So at this point, what she put in the book was a letter to her father. She called it an open letter to my deceased father. And she spoke about what she really felt he missed out on by leaving her mother, his common law wife, and his children. I'm not going to read that. Y'all got to get the book. I learned in my first year of middle school that what happened to me was not only wrong, but against the law. I could finally put a name to the act: child sexual abuse and pedophilia. After getting acquainted with some of the kids in my school, I realized I wasn't the only one that was actually abused. There was a lot of grown-up talk amongst the kids there.
I made a left on MLK. Oh, what a beautiful day, what a beautiful day. Taking a ride on the south side. Made a left on MLK. Come on. Take a ride on the south side. Made a left on MLK. What a beautiful day, what a beautiful day.
18.